Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Weather Sim forecast. I hope you guys are all having a great weekend so far. It is July 12th, 2025, and we got a lot of weather to talk about, as not only are we looking at severe storms for the next couple of days, but we also got the potential of seeing some more flash flooding over the same areas that been dealing with flooding, which does include Texas, by the way, which we will go over that in just a moment. But we also got the potential of seeing some active tropics as well. We're going to be watching the tropics very closely, especially the Gulf of Mexico, as we head into the next week. So we do have a lot of stuff to talk about once again, so make sure to stay tuned till the end so that we guys know what to expect for the next 7 to 10 days, if why not the next couple of weeks. And we'll begin with what's happening for today, because once again, we do have that site risk level 2 out of 5 threat heading from areas of eastern Michigan, western central Ohio, eastern southern Indiana, southern Illinois, and even into areas of northern Kentucky. This includes cities like Paducah, Evansville, Louisville, even up there towards Columbus, Cincinnati, even just to the east there of Indianapolis, up there towards Detroit, and back all the way up there towards the very far edge of the UP of Michigan. So we do have a relatively large area that we are going to keep an eye on today, with really the main concern being those damaging winds. You guys can see that the damaging wind threat includes most of the slight risk and also includes most of the marginal risk. If we look at the hail threat, however, it does not really include a large area compared to the damaging wind threat, which just goes to show that we aren't really looking at large hail as much as we are looking at the potential for damaging winds. But you should still be watching out, as we could still see a storm or two maybe produce up to quarter size hail. We'll just have to see how it happens, but it looks to be a bigger concern down here towards the southern plains, back over there into Texas and Oklahoma, where some large hail is possible, but we still can't roll it out up here towards Michigan and as well as Wisconsin. And then for the tornado threat, it's a good thing we don't really have any widespread tornado threat around, or at least not really including a large area, but we are still going to be keeping an eye on it closely, as we still got the potential of maybe seeing a brief tornado, especially across areas of northeast Michigan. But once again, the tornado threat overall is going to be pretty low, but also doesn't really include a very populated area either, because northeast Michigan, if you didn't know, is way less populated compared to the southern part of Michigan. So we aren't really looking at any major concerns for tornadoes, but we will still watch it closely, as a brief tornado or two is not completely out of the question, especially across the northern and eastern part of Michigan. And then once we head into tomorrow is probably going to be a little bit less of a concern, because not only are we looking at chances for widespread showers and thunderstorms, especially where you see all this light green color, but we do have a few areas that might even see some severe weather, especially in this green color, this dark green color that you see, which not only includes areas of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and southern Missouri, but also includes areas right along the Appalachian Mountains. So we are going to keep an eye on it very closely tomorrow, like I said, as tomorrow we may see a wind. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong day. I meant to go over to day 2, which I said for the wind threat, it really appears to be the biggest concern tomorrow overall. We aren't really looking at tornadoes tomorrow, and nor are we looking at large hail. So like I said, tomorrow is going to be way less of a concern compared to today, but still, we're going to watch it very closely. And once again, we could be seeing a few severe storms tomorrow as well, but it does not appear to be anything too concerning at all. And then last but not least, let's look at day 3, and you guys can see that for day 3, way less active. You guys can see that we don't really have any big area to watch for besides the Dakotas. Like I said, this is, to the point where we might actually be seeing a little bit of a break for severe weather, because once again, day 2 doesn't look nearly as active, and nor does day 3. So I do expect the start of next week to be a little bit on the quieter side of things, but once again, I do expect that to change, especially as we get into the later part of next week and even into the next couple of weeks of July, which once again, we'll talk about that in just a moment, but we are still going to watch it very closely as severe storms are still not completely out of the question. It's just not going to be nearly as active. Let's also talk about the storm coverage, because for today we actually got a pretty big area that could see storms. I'm going to quickly refresh this, and you guys can see that we are looking at the potential of strong to severe storms likely developing across Illinois, Missouri, and continuing eastward into areas of Indiana, Kentucky, and even into Ohio. It looks like a few of these storms, especially across areas of the UP back down there into Detroit, do still have the potential to produce some damaging winds, and same goes across the southern plains. So we will keep an eye on today very closely, as we will likely see a couple rounds of showers and storms come on in, and it looks like we may also experience another round of showers and storms even once we enter tomorrow. But once again, it does not appear that it's going to be nearly as concerning compared to what we had a few days ago. And what I mean by that is that we're not really looking at anything in the way of significant damaging winds for today, but we are still going to keep an eye on it very closely, as we still are under the gun for some damaging winds. Let's also look at flooding, because first of all, we got a pretty large area that could see anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, not only across the East Coast, but also areas of the Southern Plains, Ohio Valley, and even up there towards the upper Midwest. You guys can see that with the flood threat, that includes the area that looks to be seeing the highest rainfall totals, especially as we head throughout the next 7 days. You guys can see that for today, flash flooding is possible across areas of Texas, New Mexico, and even over there towards areas of Oklahoma. And then tomorrow, we see that flood threat continue across areas of Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. So make sure you guys are all prepared for flash flooding, not just today, but also tomorrow, especially you guys down there in Texas that have already been impacted by catastrophic flooding, and you guys even up there towards areas of the Mid-Atlantic should also be watching for some flash flooding too as well. And then once we head into the start of next week, we continue to see those chances for flash flooding, but as of right now, it does not appear like it's going to be anything concerning once we enter next week, but you guys should still be ready just in case we do experience another storm. Let's also take a look at temperatures, because for our temperatures, I just wanted to quickly point out that we are going to be seeing some colder air come on in, which may bring temperatures a little bit below normal across the southern plains. There will be another time or two where we do see that warm air surge back in, but we will see another round of cold air, or at least that appears likely by the time we head into next week. So we are going to keep an eye on next week very closely, as we will see a couple rounds of cooler air come on in. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's going to experience relief, but at the same time, there is the potential that we may see, some cooler air come on in, and that still, remains to be seen, because sometimes we're a little bit off about how the cold air really plays out, but we will keep an eye on it very closely, as we could see temperatures anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees below normal, especially as we head into next week. Now, let's take a look at the tropics. You guys can see that when we take a look at the tropics, we are looking at a pretty good chance of development, especially as we head from July 16th all the way to the 22nd of July, and that's especially given the fact that we got a little bit of that red and white color showing up. It's pretty much the red and white stripes showing up over there across the Gulf of Mexico, where we do have the potential of seeing development. And with that being said, we actually got a little bit of a spin showing up in the Gulf of Mexico by the time we head into Wednesday of next week. So that's one of the reasons why we're going to be watching next week very closely, is because we also got the potential of seeing a little bit of a spin trying to get ongoing in the Gulf of Mexico. Now, will that be a tropical storm? I don't think so, but I do think it could be a tropical depression. So we are going to watch that very closely, especially as we head into next week. And then after that, it does not look like we're going to be seeing a, huge tropical storm, but I do still think there could be at least a time or two where we do see some more tropical development, which we will watch very closely. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we will continue to keep you guys up to date with the latest. And once again, we will be watching today closely, as scatter damaging winds will be possible. And it is a good thing that tomorrow and even the day after tomorrow do not appear to be nearly as active, but still we're going to be watching it over the next few days and even as we head throughout the next couple of weeks. So make sure you guys are subscribed, so that way we can keep you guys up to date. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend out there, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.